think it's also about fit as well, Ruth. I mean, if you say we want to go to France, I mean, there's very good reasons for certain companies to want to go to France. It's more stable, it seems. There's less uncertainty, it seems. If you go into a market sensor in France, where let's say you go and have 12 people interviewed, and it's 3 or 4 minutes, and you got like 30-40 minute video that you can look and listen, and you put the right question in there. You allow people to talk, you get it subtitled, and you sit there as a team and you say, can we do something for these people? But then you can do the same thing in a place like Russia. And when you listen to those people, it may just be, okay, we'd like to go to France, but actually we can satisfy the needs of those users in Russia far better than France. So maybe France has got all the other nice things that we'd like about it. We'd like to go on a business trip to Paris. It's nice to go to France. It's stable. It's Western Europe and everything. But actually, we have a better chance of winning on the Russian market because these people are looking for things that we can do. And then you put two other things together on top of that. One, as you said, France is a highly competitive market. Highly competitive. You're going to have to do something quite special to crack into that market, and it may take you a long time. But business, private business, has only been legal in this country for 34 years. So there are huge gaps in the market. There are some very sophisticated players, but there are some completely empty spaces. And if it just happens to be your space and you found that because you've listened to a dozen people talking about something, then you can turn around and say, okay, if we go into that market, it's completely new territory. We get to take the market because nobody else is doing this. And you've discovered that because you've listened to customers. But then I'm going to throw you one more fact. And this came from the World Bank last week. In purchasing power parity terms, GDP of Russia is now the largest economy in Europe. It's bigger than Germany as well now, moved from 6th to 5th. So in PPP terms, which is the accurate way of really looking at the size of an economy, Russia is the largest European economy. It grew approximately between, depending on who you believe, 3.5% to 4% last year. The forecast range between 2.5% and 5% this year. So the world is changing quite dramatically. If you go into a market, it's going to take you 18 months to find your feet and start to get operations up and running. 3 to 5 years, you're going to start to say, we're really in this market. And then you look and say, well, in 5 years' time, by the end of this decade, where's the growth likely to be? Where's the long-range macro forecasts? Where's the best place to invest? Is it Western Europe? Is that where the growth is? Or is it going to be in the Eurasian continent? Because don't forget, Russia is a gateway into all the former Soviet republics, all these countries, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, which are growing dramatically. So I think Russia has challenges, but we don't know how long these challenges are going to last. My own prediction would be we are coming towards the end of the phase that we're in. And I've long predicted a golden age for Russia because suddenly these are hugely well-educated people. There's a huge number of them. It's 145 plus million people, but very talented, very well-educated. And suddenly they're having to do everything themselves. The economy is growing. Unemployment's really low. These are kind of close to being boom times again, I think, in Russia, which is strange considering everything that's going on. But the economy is extremely strong. It's the largest consumer class. And we've just seen how the Chinese have entered and taken over the car market here, which has happened, last 18 months. You would see no Chinese cars 18 months ago. Now 40%, I think, of cars in Moscow would be Chinese. It's a fast-moving market with lots of opportunities. So it's definitely worth looking at, and it's definitely worth keeping your eye on. Because if it takes you, I don't know, excuse me, if it takes you 18 months to go into a market because you think about it, now's the time to start thinking about this market and really becoming aware of it, understanding what you can do. So when the timing's right, you can strike.